Hello everyone and welcome in Let's Connect with Prerna. Today I'm going live with Principal of Lamartiniere Girls College and I'm inviting ma'am to join the live. I have invited Aashrita ma'am to join my session. Hello ma'am, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. So welcome everyone. I'm going live. I'm live today with Aashrita ma'am here. She's principal of Lamartiniere Girls, Lucknow. And today we will be talking about not only just about online education, but also about career options for class 12th after, class 12th, this year. So ma'am, should we start with the questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. Ma'am, my first question is what qualitative changes online education has got students, especially if I talk about your school?
There's definitely been a huge change in the way teaching happens.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have gone online and our teachers were trained thoroughly first to teach
Right.
online, because there are so
Right.
many new things that came up and many things that we were not even aware of. And
Right.
then the teachers changed the entire mode of teaching, their style of teaching, everything changed. And of course, for the child also, everything has changed. To be sitting in front of a screen is very different from being in front of a teacher in a classroom. So the
Right.
entire everything has changed for both child as well as teacher.
Ma'am, if like owing to pandemic, how are you preparing the teachers, especially, obviously from a classroom, virtual classroom program, and then the time it used to be before the pandemic, where student used to sit right in front of the teachers. So now in these online classes, how are the teachers being prepared to take care of,
So at La Martiniere, we first trained the teacher. We
Okay,
didn't just tell them to go online without a training. There were multiple trainings that the teachers undertook throughout the summer break last year, and that has
okay,
helped them cope with online teaching and give the best back to our girls, because I believe that our girls deserve the best. So we've been able to, talk of things and do things and bring them into the class. Things that we never even heard of, Mentometer, MS Forms, Canva, Kahoot,
right,
Padlet,
right,
everything that, we as teachers never knew existed. My teachers have not just been trained in that, they're using these tools of teaching, and that has made a huge difference to our classes vis-a-vis other online classes that I have watched. But our teachers are so confident now. It was a huge learning. It is not that, teachers are young and they can unlearn. There were some very, very senior teachers who have taken
right,
on the challenge and have brought wonderful improvement to the class.
right. Ma'am, what you have to say for students passing class 12 this year?
For the students who have passed out already, I don't think they need to despair, because the whole world has been struck by the pandemic. It's
Right,
not a single child who is dealing with a tragedy, it's
right,
everyone together. And I think that the skills they have learned at Lamartiniere Girls holds them in good stead to make a mark despite whatever
right,
has happened around us. So I
right,
think our girls have the capability of making use of all these skills they have got. And many of them I know are already doing wonderful work on their
right,
own. They become entrepreneurs in their own way. They're doing work, social work. They're doing a lot of new things. They're writing. They've got books out there. They're writing poetry, which is being published. They are winning awards in various fields. So I think our girls are doing what we've taught them, and that is seize the moment. They, everyone is in this together. So they can overcome, they have to flourish, they have to outshine, and they cannot blame a pandemic. They have to be way above that and make the best of what they've got. And I think they're doing very well for themselves.
right. Ma'am, if I talk about class 10th, right? So how are they taking, on what basis are the assessments being done so that they decide on the, subjects which they will be taking from
See,
class 11?
for
Yeah,
all right. For this year, it was totally the students' choice as to what they wanted. And
Yeah.
they've had a couple of months of online teaching. They've understood what each subject brings. They've asked
Right.
for subject changes, some students. We've done that. So that students are studying subjects basically this year what they like. So I think that's a good way.
Okay. Ma'am, if we talk about new education policy, so how new education policy will, is going to impact students?
The new education policy, the way I see it at Lamartiniere, we were doing most of it already. So I don't think it's going to bring much change at Lamartiniere. We were already quite progressive that way. We were already following what is mainly written in the new education policy. So it
Right.
really doesn't bring much change to Lamartiniere.
Okay. Ma'am, if I talk about the curriculum, so is the curriculum of, the classes before the pandemic and online classes still the same, or is there a change in the curriculum?
There is definitely a lessening of the curriculum because we have to
Okay.
keep in mind screen time, especially for our younger children. So there's definitely a lessening of curriculum. And I think what the children were missing out on was a lot of the co-curricular activities. But I'm immensely proud as Principal Lamartiniere Girls to talk about my class 12 students who decided to garner and come up with a summer camp for the children. So they were learning Korean, Spanish, guitar,
Wow.
dance. We had
Wow.
about 17 different camps run by the children, from
Wow.
art to music, everything. So if these girls have done that, and all the funds that were created, it was the children's wish that whatever's created goes to COVID victims or people who were affected by COVID. So huge sum of money has been collected, and the children run this off seamlessly. Seamlessly.
Wow.
They were teaching throughout the summer vacation and teaching their own. So they were like, the girls had a wonderful time. The students had a wonderful time because it was not a teacher, it was a senior student. There was so much of
Right.
compatibility. The girls learned. So it was wonderful to see our girls take this challenge and take it forward. And now most of our co-curriculars going online. We have the MUN coming up. We have the debates coming up. We have another college event coming up called Onton. So it's going to be connecting not just local schools, but national, international. So I think our girls are beating the odds.
Right. Ma'am, there is one view, that NEP is discouraging after school higher education to most. It's more oriented to create skilled labor for blue collar job. Is it true?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, actually, this time, at this point of time, there are so many jobs open to everyone. Everyone is choosing what they like. So you cannot
Right.
say that XYZ is defining anything because the girls are students today are free to choose whatever they like. And with liberal
Right.
colleges offering liberal studies, etc., the sky's the limit. So there's nothing that no one can define anything for anyone now, I think.
Right. Ma'am, how in NEP students choose their options for further education after schooling, keeping in mind, you know, I mean, if they keep
Like
in
I
mind,
said, like I said, a child can choose whatever they like. So it is not it is not defined. Somebody may want to be a lawyer, they will follow that stream. Somebody may want to be an engineer, somebody may want to be a social activist, somebody may want to be an entrepreneur. So you can't say what is going to define who.
right. Ma'am, what do you have to say, like, when we talk about financial independence for females?
I have always said this and I'll repeat it again. The girls of today have to be financially independent. They have to have the skill set to be financially independent. Whether they work or not, that is totally their call. But
Right.
tomorrow, if they need to work, they need to have the skill set to be able to be financially independent.
Right. Ma'am, how do you see the role of women in pandemic generated difficult times where they have to manage home, they have to teach, or let's say they have to work? So, I mean, your comments on this?
I think women have excelled. I think they have done wonderfully well. My staff is living example of that. They're women who were working, who took to teaching, teaching online, keeping their families together, working from home, doing it all. So
Right.
I think my staff has is you know just excellent at what they've done. So, I mean, all women, for that matter, whoever's taken it up has taken it up and done it so beautifully. It's so
Right.
seamless now.
Ma'am, how can women make themselves more meaningful on these tough times, whether it's home or it's work?
I think women have already done that. We are already 1.5 years into the pandemic, and I think women have already done that, and they've done it so beautifully. So I don't think this applies. I think all women are amazing, and they've done an amazing job. And I think men have done it too. So I think more credit to the men who had to stay at home. Women have are far better, able to come to terms with situations, are able to multitask. I think credit to the men who've had to stay at home and, figure it out what it is to be at home. So I think more credit to the
Right.
men. Women have already figured it out and already knew what they had to do. They didn't, step back and complain about a pandemic. It has affected the men more, I would say, than the women.
Right. Ma'am, I've been getting a lot of questions where, students say that, they need a lot of mental support from their parents. So your message to all the parents, because somehow the general well-being of student is being affected because they're not able to go to the school. So what would be
True.
your message to all the parents?
So, considering that, Lamartiniere Girls about a month ago started a mental health club, and we are reaching out to all our students. And our counselor is has just gone global day before yesterday and is on international forums. So I hope she will bring more of that to Lamartiniere. And mental health is extremely important, not just for the students,
Right,
but the parents and everyone per se who is connected to a school or a college or anyone anyway. Mental health is
right,
extremely important. And for that, we have a counselor in place. If a parent has any problem, they are free to write in. We are happy to help anyone who will reach out to us.
right.
And like I
Ma'am,
said, the pandemic doesn't stop anything. It just makes us work harder. It make us better people. It makes us realize all the things we've taken for granted. That
true,
it's time to sit up and realize what family means. And I think it's brought us closer together as families.
true. Ma'am, here, one question from you. What motivates you the most?
That's very simple. It's obviously my children and my school. I've been associated with Lamartiniere Girls for over 25 years as a student, as a teacher, now as the principal. So I don't need motivation. Lamartiniere in itself is motivation. And the kids make you just want to learn so much more and give them the best. So you just keep upping yourself for the children.
Right. Right. Your message to everyone who is watching us right now, how to keep, themselves motivated and, positive during these tough times.
I think the girls of Lamartiniere and the parents of Lamartiniere don't need much motivation. They're quite motivated themselves. The girls and parents keep surprising us with what they're doing and what
Right.
all they are doing, I should say. So I think everyone seems to be quite motivated, and that's the way it should be. That's what Lamartiniere has taught us to be. Take everything in our stride, and we labor constantly, as our motto says. So we are all working towards making things better, and it's okay. Things happen, but we do strive to be better. It happens. It happens. We can't sit back and say, blame our circumstances. We just
Right.
become stronger and better at it.
Right. Ma'am, I have heard that, during these pandemic time, Lamartnia, especially girls have contributed in, a lot many ways, whether it was related to funds or, organizing an application or something. I would like you to, share one incident here.
I will share one incident, as in when we realized that we had so many girls doing so many wonderful things. We brought in something called Be the Change last year, and we
Okay.
had over 60 to 70 girls who we had to feature. I featured them on Facebook, and they were doing just amazing things, like right from recycling of products to feeding stray animals to looking after stray animals to having lots of camps where they were giving of food, they were going out and distributing sanitizers, they were doing, I mean, the girls were just doing and doing. And we
Right.
had not just one child, but so many. And when we collated the data, we realized how many children were actively involved in doing so many things and were excelling in those fields and were making a mark
Right.
for themselves. So you had people who were writing blogs and, doing things. We had girls who had started free cab services. We had children who
Right.
were doing
Right.
all sorts of things. So it
Yeah.
was just very humbling to know that you're leading a group of children who were already so self motivated and selfless in giving back to society. So that was huge
Wow.
for me.
Wow. Ma'am, before we conclude our conversation, your message to not only the students of Lamartiniere Girls, but in general, all the students, what's your message, like keeping pandemic, in fact, post-pandemic times in mind?
I would tell all children that, the future is here, the future is now, and what we can make of whatever we are going through, that is what is going to be so wonderful, because that is what we're going to remember, and that is what
Right.
generations will remember. That, we were the generation that was affected by the pandemic, and this is what we did. And
Right.
that is how we are going to be remembered as the pandemic generation. So do something. And every child has in them a light to do something. So keep that flame burning. And I'm sure once we have the children involved, great things are going to happen. It's a
Right.
bright future. Hope has to live on. And our hopes are pinned on these children.
Right. Thank you so much, Ashrita ma'am, for being a part of this talk show. And I hope I can see a lot of comments in the comment box and all from Lamartiniere. Thank you for being a part of this initiative, Ashrita ma'am.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
having me. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
everyone for watching us live right now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.